Your questions about business, career, personal development, and achieving the American dream are more than welcome. Call 855-MAKIN-IT, 855-625-4648. Now, back to more Makin' It with Tommy and Todd.
The Speed Loss Energy Break by Vertex Foods. What successful people eat for breakfast. Kelly Ripa drinks a cappuccino, then yogurt and granola for breakfast every day.
Sounds yummy.
Wait, she drinks the cappuccino, then she eats her yogurt with granola. Let's
yogurt
get
and
clear.
granola, yes. You could drink granola too, I think. This is brought to you by Speed Loss, the food and juice cleanse. Lose 12 pounds in 2 days. For more information on this cleanse, go to jumpstartspeedloss.com.
I will be going there immediately.
Now it's time for Two with Tommy.
Well, it's 2017, and I hope you've made your resolutions for the new year. Is your New Year's resolution to follow through with your New Year's resolutions? Do you know that most resolutions are broken within 3 weeks of being made? How about we change that pattern and together we make 2017 your most successful year ever? Are you going to lose 25 pounds, get in the best shape of your life? How about make another 50 grand in 2017? It's all doable, of course, but chances are you won't do any better this year and than you did last year and the year before with keeping those kinds of resolutions. The problem is most people are creatures of habits, and they set unrealistic goals without the motivation or will to ever achieve them. So if you want to have a different result this year than you did last year and the year before, get in a new mindset, psychologically, emotionally, socially, physically, and intellectually, and follow these 5 simple steps to success. Number 1, choose specific and realistic goals and commit them to writing. Post them on your mirror where you'll be reminded about them each day of the year. Number 2, don't have a whole list of long resolutions. Rome wasn't built in a day. Concentrate on no more than 3 major changes for the year. Number 3, plan your goals out carefully before you start trying to make major changes in your life, and start with simple steps. Taking on too much at once is a common reason why many New Year's resolutions fail. Number 4, remember that change is a process and you will have some stumbles. If you suddenly relapse into a bad habit, don't view it as a failure. The path to your goal is not a straight one. You will have some setbacks. So remember that change is not a 100-yard dash, but rather a marathon. So if you fall off the wagon, get back up tomorrow and start over again. Number 5, and this is an important one, the buddy system works with accountability. Find a close friend or family member to keep you accountable and on track, as well as supply motivation and moral support. If 2017 is going to be your year, prove it. Don't just talk about it. For more great content, insights, inspiration, and products, go to TommyRunfola.com.
The personal development site of the year.
All right. That's going to be the big site in 2017, Todd.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, guys. Next up, new year, new show, new segments. We have our new segment called Deep Dive. And you two are going to be discussing a fairly controversial topic, the state of American business post-election.
Oh, the election's back in the news.
Back in the news. And we're talking about business. We're not talking about politics. We're keeping it clean. We're talking about business and what our predictions are for the business world.
Well, I'm glad you made that clarification, Brittany, because I really want to tell our listeners that this segment is not intended to be a rehash of who should have won the election, whether the election was fair, whether the Russians, the Martians, or Satan himself interfered with the process, or whether anything good or bad said about either candidate is true or untrue.
Right.
America remains a divided country, politically, philosophically, and sociologically, and that would have been the case no matter what candidate won the election.
Very true.
Yeah. So Donald Trump won the election. He's the 45th president of the United States, and he will be governing the United States for at least the next 4 years. So this segment is just our opinions about what American business might look like for the next 4 years.
Right.
Well, you know, like the old famous Ned Beatty speech in a network, the world is a business.
Yes, it is a business.
Everything's a business.
And we have a businessman in charge of the biggest business in the world right now.
And so we're talking about this new deep dive segment. It's we want to go in a business, an entrepreneur, an economic event, and pull lessons and insights and tips to help our audience, improve in their business career and their life. And so the state of American business obviously affects everyone in America.
Absolutely.
And I think, we're in an environment of political uncertainty. I think, one thing Donald Trump's about the fact that we're not number one anymore in America in most things.
Yeah, and that's bothering most Americans.
We're number one in defense. We always maintain that. But we're a great country, but we're not number one in most things.
Right.
Factually. So business is the way to get the country back to our number one status in most areas.
Right.
I think it was one of the most dirtiest, volatile elections.
Divisive
elections in history.
Absolutely.
And
it's
over.
The
The most hate I've seen in an election.
Yeah.
And so it's over. But I think, in the first 100 days of Trump's presidency, I think it's kind of a powder keg about what is he going to do that affects business.
Well, I think it's also been really interesting to note how many business people and business leaders he's brought into his administration and brought on as advisors. So right off the bat, I have to say that as far as how he's going to affect the business world and intends to affect the business world, I think it was a really good move, and I was comforted by the fact that he brought so many people that I respect in the business world onto his advisory staff and invited them into his cabinet.
Right. Todd, I don't know about you, but I had a plan for whatever candidate won the election.
Were you going to move to Canada too?
I was never moving to Canada because I was going to be prosperous in the United States no matter who won.
That's what I thought. I was just checking.
Yeah, I had two different plans. One was the Trump plan and one was the Clinton plan, and they were completely different. But I'm going with the Trump plan because he won. The point is, I didn't plan on giving up hope if one candidate or the other won. And I think really that's what America needs to do. America's made a decision. They're going with the business guy because they feel, I'm sure, as many Americans did, that the economy is number one. And if a business guy can't pull us out of this, who can?
Well, the government is increasing in debt.
Right.
And there's unfunded pensions, and one day it could fall if there's not reform.
Right.
So there definitely needs to be reform. Now, what Trump is proposing is slashing regulation, cutting taxes, boosting the economy with infrastructure spending, a la Roosevelt.
Right.
And this is what he's saying. Now, I will say that the tax brackets that he's proposing rewards people who are in the top 10% and higher, which I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it helps everybody, it's proposed. But I think it's motivating to say, I want to push my business to the next level. I want to push my income to the next level because I want those incentives.
Right.
I see it as motivational.
I think it is motivational, and really, who do we want to invest back in their businesses, which creates jobs, and that is the top 10% who run the businesses and the economy. I believe the middle class, that broad group, does get some benefit from the tax cuts, but be that as it may,
the proposed tax cuts.
The proposed tax cuts, yes, of course. And let's talk about that. If you can't get, for instance, legislation and tax cuts through when you have a Republican president and a Republican Congress, when are you going to ever get anything done?
Right, on that side.
Sure.
Now, I will say one thing that is troubling. It's the thought about the 35% tariff, to keep if American businesses want to take their business outside of America.
Right.
It's is the 35% tariff they're proposing on it. And although it sounds good, you're listening to Making It with Tommy and Todd Coast to Coast. Although it sounds good, keeping this can be could turn out bad, because if you force businesses to not compete by getting lower wages abroad, then they can reduce wages over here, reduce competitiveness, and it's also disruptive, because the flow, people's supply chains and the flow of their distribution are already tied into having overseas, labor that help their profit margins, help their efficiency.
Well, I think
this could be a problem.
There has to be some disincentive not to leave the United States, and there has to be some incentive to bring your company back to the United States if you've already made that decision. Companies did not want to leave the United States. They left because they had to. They couldn't make any money here anymore.
Wages.
There was too much
Where are
government.
You going to get the low wages?
Well, you don't necessarily have to have low wages to make money. There are a lot of businesses that pay good wages and still, they're here. They're not leaving.
But if you look at businesses, when they went overseas because they said the wages are so much cheaper and the products get made cheaper. I mean, that's the only reason a business goes over there for the most part.
Well, there's another reason. It's called taxes. It's called
And
government
taxes.
interference,
So there's
overregulation, all of those
Okay.
agencies that have been overreaching, like the EPA and Department of Labor.
So if you
and
say-
all of those agencies that really stick their nose
you
in
say-
business too much.
If you don't stay here with higher taxes, higher wages, and higher cost of goods, then we're going to penalize you.
Then we're going to tax you.
This could be a problem. It sounds like, yeah, we're keeping more jobs over here, but what are you going to do to the business? They're going to say, well, fine, I'm going to drop the wages down to make up the money. I'm going to have to do something to make up for what I was getting competitively by going overseas.
Something's got to give. It's going to throw some other dominoes.
There
It's
are more elements.
protectionism.
There are more elements to a business than just the wages, and we may end up, for instance, that $18 pair of shoes that you bought at Walmart, made in China. A comparable pair of shoes made in the United States in the future may cost $50 at Walmart. So be it. If we're keeping jobs in the United States, we have to support the workers of the United States. They deserve to make a decent living. I don't think anybody disputes that. And the government can create incentives to keep companies here.
You see, I just see a problem because people love going to Walmart and to Target and to all these stores,
Of course.
to get the low prices.
Well,
The average American consumer.
they will be lower when...
I think they're going to have a fit if these prices skyrocket.
Well, we can still get things from China, for instance. They're just going to have a tariff when they come in, and they're going to cost more as well.
Well, I think it's going to throw a wrench in the system as far as the consumer, but it's also going to throw a wrench into the system of the business. I mean, basically, you're talking about on both ends of the spectrum, the consumer and the provider of that good. Both of them, they're having to change their entire game plan pretty much.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're
it's
talking
almost
about
inconceivable.
I mean, some businesses over here, their whole supply chain is based upon overseas, production.
And it would put them into bankruptcy to have that high tariff or to have to change the way that they operate.
Well, they can charge more for their products if it costs them more to supply those products.
Just whippity-doo-dah?
Of course.
That easy?
Yes.
Just raise
I
the
don't
price?
think
Ask the president.
American consumer is just going to, I'll open my wallet to oblige that. No
he
problem,
has
no
thought
problem.
this thing through, I'm telling
Oh,
you.
I totally understand as a consumer. I will definitely pay you 35% more. No.
You are going to love America the next 4 years, Brittany, and
I'm saying
you keep those cheap shoes where they belong.
Tommy, these are definitely not from Walmart, let me tell you.
All right, see, you're making my point.
that's the only glitch I see so far.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to
We're going to
see.
have to see how the details
We're
play
going to
out.
make
How it works
America
out.
great again, and
Well-
we're going to make great products here, and we're going to have great customers for those great products because they're going to be building roads and bridges and have all kinds of money.
Hopefully
argue
so,
that.
and we'll discuss a pretty similar topic when we get back. By the way, we're in our new studio, new set, new year. You can check us out on our website, makingitnow.com. We have new clips behind-the-scenes footage, and of course, you can watch and listen to all of our past shows there. We'll be right back.